at a former 4 or 5 star, depending on your service, Saivion Smith, defensive back, who's going to spend the football season at a Mississippi junior college. But after that, his service is up for grabs. He is transferring from LSU and made a comment this week that South Carolina, not just in the mix, but a pretty much 50-50 split between Alabama and South Carolina.
And it's interesting. South Carolina's down to about 5 spots in this recruiting class. There's not many spots left, and the way these rules are set now, you cannot oversign. And that South Carolina's in on some very big time players, and they can't take all of them. There's Rick Sandidge, a defensive lineman out of North Carolina. There's Channing Tindall and Dax Holyfield, linebackers. Josh Vann is a guy that we just talked about. That's 4. And then you look at a guy like Jaycee Horn, who we've mentioned before, Saivion Smith, CJ Smith, a safety out of Florida, Dylan Wonham, the younger brother, but one of the top offensive tackle prospects in the country, out of Tucker, Georgia, the same high school as Josh Vann. There's another Jonathan Gwynn, another offensive lineman out of Charlotte. There's about 9 or 10 guys, all guys that I would assume South Carolina would love to have. So I think when you talk about Saivion Smith, I think it comes down to they would love to have him, maybe Jaycee Horn, maybe CJ Smith. Who commits first? Who is willing to pull the trigger? And I think they would be happy with any of them. So we'll see how that plays out. But if you're South Carolina, you think, well, maybe we don't get Jaycee Horn. That's a blow to recruiting. Maybe you land a guy like Saivion Smith, who spent a year at LSU, who's been at the college level and was expected to make an impact at LSU this coming season. That would be a pretty good piece of the puzzle to add, and he would be able to enroll early in January, so and would be eligible right away. So we'll see how that plays out. But there's a lot of good elite players for 5 spots. How they handle this recruiting coming down the stretch is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, we're talking about a good possible problem for South Carolina and Will Muschamp that not a whole lot of programs have. They got a numbers game, but with 4-star athletes out there, playing the numbers game at the end is a much more desirable place to be. South Carolina football talk here on Mark Rogers TV each and every Friday with Will Gunter. All new early game. Columbia, South Carolina is 107.5 the game. Will, we appreciate the time.
Glad to do it. Look forward to a weekend, and then it's time to kick it off next week.